Alexander Hamilton, a short video biography by Kirsten Payne. All information collected from Alexander Hamilton, Founding Father, the real stories of his life, his loves, and his death, by Mark Steinberg. Alexander Hamilton is one of the most important founding fathers of the United States. He changed the way Americans organized the country, established the monetary system, and more importantly, shaped how many Americans continue to think about their government. Alexander Hamilton was born on January 11th, 1755, on the island of Nevis. His parents were Rachel Fawcett and James Hamilton. As a child, Hamilton did not have a very stable home life. After his brothers left, his mother sent him to work at a warehouse on the island. He began to write while he was there, and the owner took notice of his skilled writing and decided to send him to the American colonies to get an education. And on 17th of October, 1772, Alexander Hamilton boarded a ship and upon arrival was accepted to King's College. Alexander Hamilton, Founding Father, by Mark Steinberg. As a revolutionist, Alexander Hamilton was first against the Revolution. Then after the Tea Act and the Boston Tea Party, he became one of the most well-known revolutionists. He gave a speech about fighting for American freedom at Princeton and joined the New York militia. He became a distinguished soldier who was following in Washington's footsteps in many ways. He aided in protecting Washington's troops through the Battle of Trenton. On January 20th, 1777, Hamilton received an invite to be Washington's aide-de-camp. He was very angry with this invite because he wanted to be on the front lines rather than behind a desk. Alexander Hamilton eventually accepted the invite. It wasn't long, though, until he left the position because of a disagreement that happened with Hamilton and Washington. Not long after leaving Washington, Hamilton resigned from the army following the Battle of Yorktown. Alexander Hamilton, Founding Father, by Mark Steinberg. Following his resignation and winning the Revolution, Hamilton had many ideas for the federal government. To create a strong and centralized government with a U.S. banking system, he wrote a 31-page pamphlet to show the importance of a centralized bank and credit system. He forecast an enormous budget deficit for the time. Quoted from Alexander Hamilton, Founding Father, by Mark Steinberg. This caught the attention of many people in power. After this, he became the New York delegate at the Constitutional Convention. At the convention, he renewed his relationship with George Washington, and on September 17, 1787, he signed the document that laid out the American government. Following the Constitutional Convention, he wrote the Federalist Papers and the 51 essays that convinced New York to ratify the Constitution. After George Washington was elected president, he appointed Hamilton to be his Secretary of Treasury, though he did not want to because Washington had not thought of Hamilton as a choice for the Treasury slot. He had a high opinion of him, but was unsure if Hamilton was sufficiently knowledgeable about finance and believed him to be too young for the position. Quoted from Alexander Hamilton, Founding Father, by Mark Steinberg. As Secretary of Treasury, Hamilton did many things. He started a customs system and founded the United States Coast Guard, which had originally started as patrol boats to monitor shipping. He worked on starting the U.S. Bank. He began to start a standardized set of currency, public credit, ways to collect taxes, and pushed and developed manufacturing. Hamilton wanted the country to be able to compete on a world stage. Quoted from Alexander Hamilton, Founding Father, by Mark Steinberg. Besides life as a revolutionist, Hamilton was very well known as a family man. While Hamilton was also well known for his many affairs, he truly loved his wife. He would do anything for his family. At one point, Hamilton's youngest son, Philip, became very ill. Hamilton was busy with court cases but rushed home to be with Philip and nursed him around the clock. Quoted from Alexander Hamilton, Founding Father, by Mark Steinberg. He was a busy man but would stop at everything to take care of his family. Hamilton had many disagreements in his lifetime. One of them ended his life. He often disagreed with Aaron Burr, partially because Hamilton was always trying to discredit Burr. Finally, Burr wrote a formal request for a duel against Hamilton, in which Hamilton gladly accepted. At this point, Hamilton was very depressed in life, so Burr would be doing Hamilton a favor and be ending his own career by killing Hamilton. At 7 a.m. on the morning of the duel, the men stood 10 paces apart, facing each other. Hamilton chose the side that put the sun in his eyes. Upon firing, Hamilton was shot in the stomach, just above his hip, and his shot missed Burr. This would be a fatal wound that they tried to fight to save the life of Hamilton. but he died on July 11th, 1804. Alexander Hamilton, Founding Father, by Mark Steinberg. Alexander Hamilton lived an extraordinary life as a family man and as a revolutionist. While his name means many different things to different people, overall he is an amazing historical figure. The many impacts he had on our country is what catapulted him into our history books. Alexander Hamilton created many writings. He also started our country's foundations of banking and created a centralized U.S. bank. He began a customs systems and founded the United States Coast Guard. He was the first Secretary of Treasury and one of George Washington's most trusted advisors. He figured out a stable and safe way to collect taxes and solve debt issues by establishing a public credit. Alexander Hamilton made more impacts on this country than many people realize. He did everything with the intention of making this country the best it could be. It's no wonder he is on the $10 bill. Alexander Hamilton catapulted himself into the history books by helping to make the United States an amazing country.